Hi guys, today I thought I would do my Supernatural series finale reaction, and yes, the series finale. Supernatural is a show that has quickly become near and dear to my heart. I only started watching it, I want to say season 10, and then I went back and watched all of it from the beginning, obviously, on Netflix, but it just ended last week, and I wanted to give you guys some time to all watch if you haven't before I made this video, but I've done this for Bones, Vampire Diaries, I'm pretty sure the originals, and I thought, how could I not do it for Supernatural? There's so many episodes and so much to watch that it's you don't even know what you want at the end. Obviously there's gonna be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the finale or last season, don't watch this video yet. This is gonna be talking about the last season and the finale. So before I get into the notes I took and stuff, I want to say that my expectation for the last episode was that they would either die, both of them, or they would continue to fight and continue to do what they do, and we just assume that one day that they would die doing what they do. That's kind of what my expectation was, one way or the other. Based on all the other shows I've seen in my life and stuff like that, so many times throughout the series you hear them say, or at least you hear Dean say, I'm gonna go down fighting, and I feel like that is what I was expecting. And so that's kind of what my expectation going in was. I knew they would have to do something different than that, but also not too different. This is a show that is all about the fans. The fans are what kept the show on for so long. The fans are what the show is about, I feel like, and even the last season it was like a love song to the fans, in my opinion. I know a lot of people didn't like what happened in the finale. I did. I thought I couldn't have asked for more. I could have watched the finale. They could have spread that thing out for 3-5 hours. I would have watched it and loved it. But I know a lot of people were upset and saying Dean deserved more, and yeah, but at the same time, this is what he wanted. We all know this is exactly what he wanted. He wanted to go down fighting, and so I don't even know, this is gonna be so disorganized, but so the whole last season I thought was great. Obviously you take, if you watch the show in whole, the first few seasons are a lot more ghost stories and things like that, and I love that. But then once it got into angels and gods and all that kind of stuff, it was a bit more difficult. There was a season in the middle that I had a hard time watching. I want to say it was season 6, maybe it was 8, I can't remember, but one of them I had a hard time getting through, but then it picked right back up, and I liked the last few seasons. I know not everyone did. I liked all the Men of Letters stuff. I thought that was super cool. I really liked how they did that, and every season, no matter how big the bad was, no matter how ridiculous things got, or how many worlds they were in or whatever, they always had a few episodes for the fans that were very reminiscent of the beginning, and I love that. They did that this season too, and I appreciated that a lot. I love Jack. I thought that he was an amazing addition to the show. Obviously cast, I'm not even gonna say anything, he is part of the show. I wish he was in more, to be honest, but the last season I thought was really good. They did bring back quite a few people, which I thought was great. I would have loved to see more people, to be honest. There was more people I did want to see in the finale episode, but at the same time, when I look back at Vampire Diaries, if that's something you watched, I thought the last episode was forced. I thought the whole last season was forced. The last episode, they brought everyone back, and I was just I don't know, some of it was cute and some of it was okay, that's enough. So I liked how they did this. I think the whole last season was the goodbye, not just the final episode. The final episode was the end to their story, just the brothers, but the whole last season really wrapped up everyone's stories. I do wish there was the Wayward Sisters show. Literally, that fact that show didn't happen really pisses me off. I think that would have been amazing. I love all the characters on that. Well, what would have been that? If you don't know about that, they were going to take Jodie and the girls and kind of make a spin-off on it. I think that would have been awesome, a girl-powered show based on the same kind of world. I think that would have been amazing, but that didn't end up happening. Either way, I like how they ended a lot of the people's stories. Let me just read what I wrote in the first beginning. I said I could have watched 3 hours of the finale. I was literally dehydrated by the end of it because I was crying so much. I can put in some screenshots of Instagram stories when I was watching it. I did like that it didn't feel rushed. Like, they gave the final season the time it needed. They didn't rush it through like they did with Vampire Diaries. It didn't feel like, the whole show was happening and then boom, here's the end. It felt very much like a slow and steady ending, which I really appreciated. I feel like ever since I moved into the Men of Letters bunker, you kind of knew an end was coming. As soon as they moved out of the hotel motel situation, you knew this is closer to the end. And I kind of liked it. I liked that they did that. I just liked how it ended. I don't know. I know people are going to be like, no, it sucked. I think things are wrapped up really nicely. I think we got a glimpse at a lot of the really important characters throughout the series. I would have liked to see Crowley. That's one thing I was kind of upset by. We had the goodbye episode where they did interviews. We had him, but I was kind of bummed we didn't get even a glimpse of him at the end. Even in the nothing, is that what it was? I thought we would have seen him somewhere, to be honest, and we didn't, and that was kind of a bummer. But the whole season, I think, wrapped up nicely. The whole thing with Cass, I thought his death was exactly how people wanted it to be. He went out saving Dean, and that's what everyone always wanted, and I think that was what good. I would have loved to see him in the final 2 episodes, but to be honest, the last episode had to be just them, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't have been the show. The show is ultimately about them, and Cass wasn't in the beginning, and it needed to wrap up with just them. And I think that I would have liked to see Cass a little bit longer, but I think they did a good job. If you take the last 3 episodes together, it makes sense the way they did it. I love what happened with Jack. I just okay, Cass's death I thought was great. I thought it made sense. I thought they kind of really, really ended it well based on the last few seasons. I think that him saying I love you to Dean was great. I think that whole part worked out really well. And then of course in the last episode we do find out that Cass isn't in the nothing. He's with Jack. So that's amazing. That's all we wanted, father and son. Jack, I always loved him. He just even when he didn't have a soul, he still did. I love the actor who played Jack. I hope we see him in more stuff on the CW. I think that his character was awesome. He was so innocent, and he really did care. He really cared, even when he did things wrong and made mistakes. He was innocent in it, in the fact that he was a kid, a kid in a 21-year-old's body. I don't know. I love what happened. I think that what happened was fantastic. I think what happened with Chuck was aces, as much as I would have loved to see him completely die. The fact that he has to live out a human existence now is pretty cool. He can still fuck people over as a human, but I like that that's what he's gonna have to suffer with, what he's done to so many people. Now he has to do that, and he has to suffer, and I think that's great. And I think that puts them kind of on the high road. They could have killed him, but they didn't. They not that the making him suffer puts them on the high road, but that episode, first of all, broke my heart when they were being hurt. I was like, oh my god, but at the same time it brought me back to before they went to the cage. Is that what the one I'm thinking of? Gosh, there's so many I can't even remember. But yeah, that episode was golden. Figuring out what happened to Jack with the bomb that was in him was kind of cool. I didn't know what was going to happen with that. I didn't think Jack was going to die. I feel he became a very beloved character very quickly, and I think that just what happened with him was super cool. It made sense. They really, really did a good job with that. And ending that story out with him becoming God and kind of just fixing things and being I'm just going to let people do what they want to do. I don't want people to praise me. It really made sense. And his character made sense as God. And, yeah, I feel it really worked that way. And that story came to an end very well. And in the last episode, it was a farewell to the fans. It was a love song to the fans. It was saying yeah, we're gonna bring it back to what it was and what it always was before all the other crazy shit happened. And fighting the vampires was interesting. I would have been totally cool if it was ghosts or something else too. I liked the beginning of the last episode, that they did get a little bit of time just to be, you know, like relieved that they saved the world again. So I thought that was great. Dean was always my favorite, I have to say. I know a lot of people don't have favorites. A lot of people prefer Sam. Dean was my man. I love him. He made the show for me. He was just like my main squeeze. I'm obsessed with Dean. And as much as the end was so sad and the scene where he dies was brutal, like, I actually had to probably wait to film this, not just for you guys to watch, but like for me to like emotionally process and not cry on camera. It just ended, like, it was, I don't know, part of me thought, like, yeah, maybe one of them is gonna die in this simple, like, vampire fight, and another part of me was like, not, like, I don't know, like, I felt like it was so early in the episode when it happened that, like, I wasn't expecting it, even though, like, earlier I was, and when it was just, like, the fact that Sam didn't see it, and, like, oh my god, it was just, like, it was brutal. It really, really was. But, like, you could tell he was at peace. Like, you could tell Dean felt like we did our job. Like, we did what we've been wanting to do this whole time. Like, this is how I wanted to go out. This is how I always knew I would go out. And, like, I think he was at peace. And, I mean, we know he was because he went to heaven. But, like, in the moment, he was like, I'm going to miss you and I don't want to leave you here alone. But it's my time. And, like, I don't know, I feel like that's what he needed to get all this done. He needed to save the world in order to be able to move on. And I honestly think it was beautiful, as sad as it was, and it would have been awesome to see them, like, grow old together. Like, that wasn't ever Dean's story. Like, it just wasn't. Like, we had one part where Dean, you know, wanted this other life, and he didn't want it the whole time. Like, even when he was in that other life, he wasn't happy. He was kind of going through the motions, and, like, he had happy moments, but, like, well, you know, the whole time he was there, he wanted to be fighting, and you know it. And, like, Sam wasn't, like, he wanted to be with his brother, but other than Dean, he wouldn't have wanted to fight. If Dean wasn't there with him, he wouldn't have wanted to keep fighting and keep hunting. That wasn't his story. He wanted to have a marriage and a career and a family. Like, that was his goal. And without Dean being there, that's what he wanted to do, and that's what he got to do. And I think it made sense, and I think it did wrap up to the beginning, to kind of how things started. And, you know, I thought that was beautiful. I really did. I thought that his death was horrifying, but at the same time, it made sense. I think knowing how upset he was for so long, and the dog, oh, that was, like, the fact that the dog was there, I think that just, like, was awesome. I think the fact that Sam had the dog after Dean passed was great. I would have liked to see who Sam married. Was it Eileen? Was it? We don't know. I would have liked to know that. It was annoying that we didn't get to know that, at least. What else did I read? Yeah, so they didn't make it clear who he was with. And then the last scene with Sam, like, dying in bed as an old man. The makeup sucked. Like, no offense to the CW makeup people, but, like, he did not look like he was old. He just didn't. I also didn't like that we, like, I don't know, the last scene where his son, like, is old, like, his son, who we named Dean, of course, he is telling him, like, okay, Dad, you can go. But, like, I didn't like that we saw the son. Like, I liked seeing him grow up, and, like, kind of, like, you kind of see that, like, actors, but, like, the fact that we heard him talk was, like, this is, like, a whole new story now. Like, I didn't want to meet a new actor. I liked that he said to Sam what Sam had to say to Dean to let him go, and I appreciated that, but, like, that part wasn't my favorite. I also would have preferred that, like, when he's hanging out with baby Dean, that, like, we see him, like, looking back on photos of Dean and, like, telling him stories, unless he, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess if he married Eileen, they would have been hunting, and he didn't really want that, so maybe he ended up with someone not like that. But did he keep hunting a secret? I don't know. You know, that's something that I wanted a little bit more clarity on. I think I remember here the aging was a bit too much. Like, the aging of Sam was like, okay, we didn't need that, like, that much. Like, it was a bit over the top. I also thought that he was gonna fall asleep in the Impala. When he got in the Impala, like Sam, I thought he was gonna, like, fall asleep as an old man and then be with Dean next to him in the Impala in heaven. I thought that would have been cool. I love that they gave the Impala its, you know, its end of the story as well. I'm gonna miss having new stories of them. but like at the same time, this is the kind of show like I'm gonna rewatch it eventually, and like it's gonna mean just as much to me as it did the first time. And there's so much, honestly, of it to watch that I feel like watching it back from the beginning like won't feel like, oh, this is my millionth time watching it. It'll feel like kind of still new because there is so much of it. Like you can't remember everything, you know what I mean? The music is great and everything. The music on Supernatural is aces. Like I want to thank the show for introducing me to some of my favorite songs. And overall, I was pleased with the ending. Like there were, like I had said, there was a couple things I would have preferred, but like overall, I couldn't have asked for much more, to be honest. Like I was very satisfied. I'd say like 9 out of 10 satisfied compared to so many other shows that like butchered their endings. This made sense. I liked it. I know a lot of people aren't, but like, would you be satisfied with any ending if you love this show that much, you know? Like, you just don't want it to end. Is there an ending that you would have been satisfied with? Like, we all know Dean deserved more, but this is kind of what he wanted, and I think that that's why it's a good ending. So before I keep repeating myself over and over, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for being a fan of this show and making it what it was and making it last so long. I'm sad that it's over, but I think the fact that it ended now, during the pandemic too, like, it felt like it was something that I needed. It was great. And I can't wait to rewatch it. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for being a fan of Supernatural with me for the years, and I'll see you guys soon.